the world's ongoing obsession with Dahmer, trauma as entertainment. Info sourced: New York Daily News, Yahoo.com, and CheatSheet.com. Netflix's newest series, Dahmer Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story, is a 10-part series that ranks as the second most viewed English series of all time on Netflix, with over 700 million hours viewed. On social media, the debate surrounding the show has been fierce, with many accusing it of being insensitive towards the families of Dahmer's victims, who have to constantly relive what happened to their loved ones. Netflix's Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story features several graphic scenes of murder, sexual assault, and cannibalism. Viewers have called Netflix out for packaging real-life violence as entertainment, especially after Netflix tweeted, quote, "Can't stop thinking about this disturbing scene from Dahmer, where one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims finally manages to escape, and the police actually bring him back inside the apartment." Now on Netflix. Comments under the promotional tweet called it gross. Many questioned whether the victims' families consented to their stories being told in this format. The sister of one of Dahmer's victims told Insider that she was not consulted by Netflix in advance of the show, which included a depiction of the victim impact statement she delivered during Dahmer's sentencing, and she accused Netflix of just, quote, "making money off this tragedy."
The Jeffrey Dahmer Story. It stars Evan Peters as the notorious serial killer who murdered 17 people, and it's been reported that the series is so popular that it has the best opening week of any new show on the streaming service, which is pretty incredible. But anytime you have a dramatization of a real-life killer, it's bound to get people talking, and it's bound to get people talking in maybe the wrong ways, or there's a lot of criticism, and that's clearly what's happening here. From the response of victims' family members to a Dahmer prosecutor to the LGBTQ community, there is a lot here.
It's a general trend. There's a huge interest in true crime, and in particular serial killers. So we're seeing quite a few of them being done over and over and over again. And now they're really looking at the long form, the episodic types of things. So instead of a 1-hour documentary or even a 2-hour movie, they like to have multiple episodes so they can really draw out the story.
Netflix, and the reason Netflix is coming under fire is because they said this show is going to give victims a voice, and yet, as you said, the victims' family members were never consulted about this. And as you also said, it's re-traumatizing. They see ads all over the place. They see the shows. I mean, this is a tweet from Eric Perry, who says that he is a cousin of Errol Lindsay, and Lindsay was 19 when he was murdered by Dahmer in 1991. And Eric Perry tweeted, "I'm not telling anyone what to watch. I know true crime media is huge right now. But if you're actually curious about the victims, my family, the Isabels, are pissed about this show. It's re-traumatizing over and over again. And for what? How many movies, shows, documentaries do we need?"
Despite the gruesome nature of the Netflix show, several TikTok users have made videos stating that they were unfazed or unbothered by it, and that they wished it had portrayed what they say were the actual morbid parts of Dahmer's murders. There has been a growing trend of TikTok users who have edited clips together from the series to make it look more like a romantic comedy. There have also been a handful of other Dahmer documentaries created and released before this most recent Netflix series, including My Friend Dahmer, which is based off the graphic novel by John Backderf, who was friends with Dahmer before he began his killing spree. The movie also stars the late Anne Heche as Dahmer's mother. Netflix looks to capitalize with another documentary titled Conversations with a Killer: The Jeffrey Dahmer Tapes, which feature never-before-heard audio interviews between Dahmer and his defense team. E-commerce giant eBay is taking a stand against the Dahmer hype and is removing every costume connected to the late serial killer. Interest in Dahmer-inspired get-ups, such as glasses, wigs, and shirts, have increased since the new documentary. Shirley Hughes, the mother of one of Dahmer's victims, called out the use of the notorious killer's image for costumes. She told TMZ, "It is triggering to see people dress like the man who murdered her son." an eBay spokesperson confirmed to Daily News that all Dahmer items are being removed under its violence and violent criminals policy.
This is a tough topic to talk about in this city. Netflix announcing their limited series Dahmer is the #1 show streaming on their service.
The series is about serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer and the victims of his horrific crimes. Fox 6's Angelica Sanchez joins us now in studio to explain that there is a growing call for Milwaukee to have a memorial to honor the lives lost here.
That's right, guys. According to a spokesman at City Hall, so far the calls for memorial are coming from the public, not family members so far of the victims. Neighbors who live near the lot where Dahmer's old apartment building once stood say they are seeing an increase in foot traffic. This as a new generation is learning all about one of Milwaukee's darkest chapters.
There's been a lot of people taking pictures and stuff like that, coming and going.
The scripted series Dahmer is the #1 television show streaming on Netflix. It dives into the disturbing life of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer was convicted for the murder and dismemberment of 17 boys and men.
People pull up and ask me where did he live, and then I'll show them the lot here.
The apartment building Dahmer lived in was demolished in 1992. Neighbors tell us they have seen an increase in foot traffic around the empty lot since the show's premiere. A neighbor sent us a photo of a sign someone left in memory of the victims. He says it was taken down within the last 2 days. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says he is open to discussions and ideas about how to memorialize the victims, saying it is entirely appropriate to remember the victims of this horrific episode of Milwaukee's history. I am cautious, however, about a physical memorial that would have an unfortunate potential to attract people who have a morbid fascination with the killer. The show is also critical of how the Milwaukee Police Department handled the case. MPD did in fact return 14-year-old victim Conrad Synthesum phone to Dahmer after believing the two were lovers. Dahmer killed the boy. In a statement, MPD says in part the department has made great strides providing public safety to our community. The officers that were involved in the tragic Synthesum phone incident from over 30 years ago were fired by the then police chief. However, a judge overturned their firing.
Dahmer was allegedly beaten to death in a Wisconsin prison in 1994 while serving 15 life sentences for the brutal murders of 17 boys and men. Dahmer committed necrophilia and cannibalism and preserved his victims' body parts and bones. Do we know all we need to know on this maniac? With the ongoing TikTok trends, is this a sign that today's youth is more cold and detached than ever before? It's an interesting social statement. Some of the same people with Black Lives Matter in their Twitter and TikTok bios just a few months ago are some of the same people glorifying this madman. Trend trauma. Trauma trends.
Ever since the release of the popular Netflix series profiling Milwaukee serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, one bar owner in Walker's Point says the unwanted attention has been overwhelming.
Our Madeline O'Neill joins us live there tonight. Maddie, this Netflix show really changed things for this bar.
The Wall Street Stock Bar here was previously at Club 219, and that was infamous for a place that Dahmer frequented. I'll show you that 219 up there is enough to draw in some true crime tourists here, and the owner tells me that they're even coming here and they're finding face marks from people who are putting their faces up to the glass to get a glimpse inside. They're also having customers ask for a specialized Dahmer drink, something you're not going to find in here.
I was aware that this was a place where Jeffrey had found a few of his victims.
But the owner of the Wall Street Stock Bar keeps that name out of her establishment, instead highlighting iconic people of the stock market, not the building's most infamous customer.
We're not doing a drink, we're not doing a mural.
Therese Gardner says ever since the Netflix show profiling serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was released in September,
people are like trying to look inside.
A lot more people have been trying to get a glimpse at the path Dahmer took.
I don't really understand the obsession with walking on a place where he walked at.
The trail of morbid curiosity has led them here, where Club 219 used to be.
It doesn't even look like, the place anymore. And then it was a bar before me.
Gardner says that curiosity comes at a cost.
And then they have like Jeffrey Dahmer approves, great place to meet new friends.
She says bogus reviews are popping up online.
They never visited here. They gave me a 1-star review and with a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer on there.
And it all hits close to home.
I have a lady that cooks for me, and one of the victims were her friends.
She says another person she works with was solicited by Dahmer himself.
All of these people are still like alive.
Gardner says she won't let the killer be what her bar is known for.
And this is my establishment, this is my career. And so, like, yeah, it's just kind of traumatizing to see how people would praise a serial killer.
You should watch this, you guys. I think it's gonna f with your head.
So for the last few days, I've started to act like it.
What the f is he doing to find out.
This is day one.
Why? Tell me why he's at the window with beer. I don't know. I kind of. What are you getting?
Heart.
That's a lot of sugar.
You're not my mother.
Anthony!
I then picked up 3 garbage bags full of roadkill and hid them below my parents' room so they could ferment and smell like bodies. 1 milli likes and I upload day 2.
They called a specialist.
Jack Wright, a TikTok star, has been chastised for dressing up as serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer in a video. Since the release of Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story on Netflix last month, September 21st, a number of disturbing trends have emerged on TikTok. Many of the Dahmer videos on TikTok have sparked backlash, with people feeling sorry for the mass murderer and some even thirsting for him. On the platform, there's even a Jeffrey Dahmer Polaroid challenge. TikToker Jack Wright is currently facing backlash for a video in which he recreates a scene from Netflix's Dahmer miniseries. Jack Wright posted a video to TikTok yesterday, October 16th, with the caption, "POV psychopaths drinking milk by itself." In the video, Jack styles his hair and clothes to resemble Evan Peters in a Dahmer scene in which Jeffrey Dahmer drinks milk by itself. He then acts out the scene by drinking milk directly from the bottle and dancing alone.
What are your thoughts on the situation? Let us know in the comments below.